Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and today I am going to show you how to do a magic trick to stun and amaze your friends and family members. So, to get started, all you're going to need is all the royal family members, basically all the jacks, all the queens, kings, aces. In this regard, I have a deck that does not have a queen, but that's okay. I'm just going to be using the red joker to represent the Queen of Hearts. So, that being said, I'm going to show you the story and the card trick first, and then I will show you afterwards how it is done. So, to begin, long ago, back in the Middle Ages, there lived an innkeeper that had 5 rooms, 1 for himself and 4 for anybody that wished to stay there. It so happened to be a dark and stormy night when there came a knock at the door. And whoso should happen to be there but 4 jacks. They all wished to have a place to stay for the night, and the innkeeper was more than happy to oblige. Well, he was about to go off for bed because, having all of his rooms taken up, he was very happy. However, there came a second knock at the door. And who should it be but the queens? After the queens said that they wished to have a place to stay for the night, the innkeeper obliged, but a little reluctantly, for there came a third knock, and the kings wished to stay for the night as well. And last but not least, as you would expect, a last knock, and the aces. So he holed them all up in the same rooms. They all wanted to be in their rooms together, which the innkeeper was reluctant, or not really wanting to do, but did so anyway. Now, the reason why the innkeeper was reluctant or did not want to do that is because back in the day, kings, queens, jacks, and aces could not be mixed up in different rooms. For example, you could not have a jack in the same room as a queen and a king. If that were to happen, let's say, for example, one of them were poisoned, it could easily start a war. And so this is why this rule had come into effect. Now, there was an exception to the rule. If, say, for example, there was a conference, like, say, for example, all the kings decided to come to one another to talk about a peace treaty, that was perfectly fine. Same thing for all the queens, all the jacks. That was perfectly fine as well. So, the innkeeper, a little bit reluctant to let them all be all mixed up at the night, thought he was in for it and decided to go to bed when there came one last knock at the door. Who could it be? Well, it was the police. They had heard that the royals had holed up in this particular inn, and they had to make sure that they were not mixed up in different rooms. Otherwise, all chaos could occur. Now, the innkeeper knew that he had mixed them up, and he knew that it was his head if he were to be found out, and that he had done so. So, nevertheless, he had no other choice but to lead them to the first room, where lo and behold, there were all the queens. He went to the second room. There were all the kings. They went to the third room. There were all the aces. And last, and of course, not least, the jacks. Now, this troubled and puzzled the innkeeper, as I'm sure it does you. For, as you know, all of them had been mixed up before. The innkeeper had put them all in different rooms, and sure enough, he was expecting them to have his head by the end of it all. But nevertheless, they were back in their same rooms. So the police, after seeing everything was all in order and that he was following the laws, said that everything would be fine so long as, once again, they stayed confined to their particular rooms. Now, the innkeeper knew for a fact that they were not when he had put them there, and rushed as fast as he could back to those original rooms. Would you like me to cut any more? No? Maybe just one? Okay, high or low? Doesn't matter. I'll do... yeah, it should be good. Right? Alright. Okay, so they went to those 4 rooms, the innkeeper did, as fast as he could. And lo and behold, there were all the royals mixed up. All the royals mixed up. All the royals mixed up. And all the royals mixed up. All right, so the question is, how was it done? Now, I'll reveal to you the secret. It's actually quite simple, but you have to be very, very careful about the way that you do everything. If you don't do it just right, it's gonna mess everything up. So first and foremost, make sure everything is in order. You can see already that I've lined it up so that it's in the order of ace, jack, queen, king. Just like this one, just like that one, and just like that one. That's going to be particularly important if everything is to go right. If those get shuffled up, it won't go right. So what I like to do to make sure everything is just so, and so I don't forget, I usually go in a clockwise order. It doesn't matter if I go from here or start here or here. It doesn't really matter, as long as I just go in the same order. So going around in the circle, you just place them one on top of the other. And then from there, you cut. Doesn't matter if you shuffle or not. In fact, I'll cut it once. Doesn't matter where. In fact, I'm just blindly pulling there. Okay? Blindly did it, one on top of the other. Now, when I do it all out, it should still not matter and part itself out because, once again, they're already lined up that way. Now, like I said, if you allow somebody else to say cut, like if you say go ahead and cut, go for it, you got to be careful because if they decide to shuffle, the game's over, doesn't work, it won't work at all. Now, at this point, when they're all like this, it doesn't necessarily matter if you shuffle, say, like the aces and whatnot up, unless you're trying to be very, very tricky and try and keep all of like the suits the same. But that's really difficult, and even I have trouble doing that. But basically, you just go, once again, in order, and I'll show you. It doesn't even have to be shuffled. And this is the principle here, is that it's already going to divide up. It may not be perfect, you know, ace, queen, king, jack, but you can see they're all going to be mixed up. And I can do it again. Same thing. It will continue on and on, so long as, once again, I don't shuffle them. So, now that you know the trick, go ahead and do a video of you completing the trick yourself. Or if you can do a video of you showing it to, say, a family member or a friend, even better. If you can't quite get it, post it anyway. I'd like to see how you learn from your mistakes, because once again, this is how we learn. But once again, hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to hear from you guys soon.